Welcome back, you guys, to the Come Sit With Us podcast. You know how we do. Grab your cozy drink, grab your blanket, and your headphones, wherever you are,
Your fuzzy
your
slippers,
fuzzy
your fuzzy
slippers,
robe, or maybe you're
everything.
driving right now.
Yes,
Don't look at us, watch the road, but listen.
exactly. Today's episode is a real fun
Yes.
one. We get to update you guys on our lives. Today, we talk
Bling, bling.
about all
All
engagement.
things engagement.
Yes.
We talked about what we wish we would have known before
Mhm,
getting engaged,
mhm.
a little bit about like the highlights and the challenging parts of engagement and wedding planning.
Yeah.
Honestly, such a fun episode. I can't believe we get to walk through this season together.
Together.
We're literally gonna both have the same last name. So unplanned, but God is just so funny.
Oh my gosh.
It was just a really good one. We
Yeah.
pray that it blesses you no matter what stage you're in, single, married, dating, engaged, divorced, whatever. I pray that this blesses you, and I think it can bless everybody. So if you are listening on our audio platforms, make sure you follow us on there so you get notified in your algorithm every time we upload a video. A episode every Wednesday. And make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review. Let us know how this podcast has blessed you. It helps push this show out to other people who are interested in similar shows than you are. And we just continue to further, create impact for the world and the kingdom. And if you're listening on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Yes. And that bell notification so you get notified every single Wednesday when we upload. And if you're listening to our audio platforms, make sure to hit that bell, not the bell notification, the follow button so you can stay up to date with us as well. And make sure to check out our description and show notes for any additional information. We love to add additional links on there. We love to add any scriptures that we might have mentioned,
Any other videos that
any
might
other
be related to
videos.
this topic,
Yeah,
and how you can support us financially
absolutely.
or by sharing the video as
Yes.
well.
So we have a lot of information down there. So please make sure to check it out.
We love you guys. Let's hop right into it.
Let's get into it.
Hey, friends, welcome back. It's your hosts, Brittany,
And Bridget.
and you always have a seat at our table.
And on Wednesdays, we upload. We invite you to sit with us as we dive into relevant topics on faith and culture through candid conversations that help you grow in grace and truth. So get comfy and join us in this conversation.
Okay, welcome back, you guys, to the Come Sit With Us pod. We're excited.
Yes, this one is super exciting because we're both brides. We're
Brides to
engaged.
be. But yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Brides to be.
Yes.
We are engaged to
The
two guys, to the
Diazes.
Diaz. They're not
They're
brothers,
not related.
but they are Diaz boys.
Hmm.
Um, so Britt, in a perfect world,
Hmm.
what would be your dream wedding?
Oh, man.
This was
Okay.
juicy because you're creative, so I'm really
My
intrigued.
dream. Okay. I'm going to go before I was engaged. What did I envision my wedding being like?
Okay.
Now, I'm going to preface this with saying I was never really one of those girls who, since she was young, dreamed of her wedding
Same.
day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
up until I was like 21, I always said I'm not getting married, actually, because I hadn't seen like healthy love and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm good on that. And then as I got older, I was like, no, actually, it doesn't have to be that way. Like,
Yeah.
it can be good, blah, blah, blah. And then I just started thinking of a wedding. Obviously, then I was married and then I got divorced. And then I started actually thinking, like, okay, I can actually have a engagement and wedding the way it's supposed to be. And like, God is going to redeem this. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I started really thinking of what I want my wedding to be like, which is in the past, 3 years. So, what that vision was, like my, I guess, ideal or preferred way was to kind of have like an elopement
Mm.
and like the modern day elopement
Yeah. Yeah.
where we go travel to either another place in the States, like Utah,
Nice.
somewhere with beautiful mountains and scenery, and we have like an adventure. We go on a hike, and it's just me, my man, the officiant, and photographer and videographer, and we say our vows very intimately, and it's just like a whole experience. There's no pressure of planning a whole wedding, a big party, inviting people, all the details, and then we get to just go on our honeymoon. And
Yeah.
either in the States, I would have loved to do that, or like somewhere in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
like Italy, or I don't know, just somewhere mountainous and gorgeous and green hills and pastures.
Yeah.
That was like my dream. I was still gonna wear like a beautiful wedding dress, probably with sneakers,
Mm.
and that was my dream. And then I got married to someone who has a very big family, and who, I guess, actually I have to ask him if
Uh-huh.
he dreamt of his wedding day for a long time. I'm not sure, but he wanted a big party,
Okay.
like a traditional like wedding party,
Okay.
and cue the dying to self from the moment we got engaged, because I was
Uh-huh.
like, okay, I guess. And I really didn't want to at
Yeah.
first.
Okay.
Obviously, like, you come to an agreement together, and now I'm excited, but the challenges we are running into just naturally with wedding planning, I'm like, yeah, could have avoided this. But um me make it real quick. And then when it comes to a wedding party, like my dream would have been like a destination wedding.
Oh, okay.
Like, I picture Europe. I picture like
Mhm.
Italy, France. Um,
France would have been
I know, because we
perfect.
got engaged there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I picture like a beautiful like mansion estate kind of vibe, like
Okay.
a modern one, with
Mhm.
like the greenery in the backyard with the tall skinny trees, and like a big like pond that's like perfectly symmetrical, like
Mm.
rectangle, and like the trees are lining that path, and it's just gorgeous. And we
Wow, she's detailed.
all sit at one huge long table, and it's just gorgeous. And
Wow.
yeah, that would have been my dream,
Yeah.
but that's okay,
It's okay to
because
have
my
dreams.
wedding's still gonna be beautiful, and we'll get into that
Amen.
in the episode.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. No, I love that.
What's your answer?
Um, it's actually not too different than yours in the sense of like all the greenery and
Okay.
like possibly like in Europe, cuz like same thing. Like I never really like was that girl that thought of like my wedding as a little girl and like been planning it since I was like 6. Like I was never like that either. So like Dave also has like a huge family. So when I was thinking about like having a wedding and everything, kind of like the same thing, I always imagined it a little bit more intimate and small. Mostly because of the planning for the most part, just because I already knew going into it like the big family.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
like, I'm just like, okay, like to all the things that will go into like accommodate like just so many people. I'm just like that's gonna be a little bit stressful, but and then I just like just more intimate settings per
Mhm.
se.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to do more of a smaller gathering, like a
Like 20
smaller.
people,
Yeah, like 20 people.
like very immediate people, and
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
yeah,
I love that. I love
yeah.
weddings like that. It's special, and I get why people do it.
Mhm. Yeah, and like as far as like the visuals go, I definitely wanted something like outdoors. Like I wanted like maybe like a beautiful like backyard or just greenery like with just like really dark green trees in the back or something like really dark green grass with like the tables to kind of like not like circle tables where they're kind of like
Yeah.
separated. I wanted like a
Mhm.
one like long table or like kind of like a U-shaped table or something along those lines where everyone is kind of like gathered together kind of vibe. And I wanted a bunch of florals around. Like I didn't know exactly like what color scheme, but my vibe was always like green and white, just very um elegant yet cozy at the same time.
Yeah.
um I don't know like how to describe that style, but like more like that. um and I'm thinking like the way that I envision it more like a lot of like beautiful stones. So like I'm thinking
Okay.
like a stone staircase
Oh,
or something
yes,
like
me
that.
too.
You know
On
what I
the
mean? Like
side,
yes, like
like
something.
like a big like New York Public Library kind of vibe, like
Yes,
the stone.
exactly. Yes, like
Oh,
something like that with
yes,
like for
yes,
the
yes.
photos and like a
With the
beautiful.
columns.
Yes,
Oh,
something like
yes.
that, like with like a beautiful long dress and
Stop.
like like so, like something like I pictured that like kind of like really like European, I guess, like
Yeah.
I'm thinking all of that like somewhat vintage yet modern.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And just a lot of greenery, outdoorsy, not sunshine per se, more like golden hour kind of lighting, if that
Yeah, yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense. Not too yellow,
And
but
the
like
weather's perfect.
oh
It's like a
yes.
nice breeze, not
Yes.
too windy, not too sunny.
Right, all of that, but we live in Florida, and
Pray
literally
for us.
yes, like, any time of the year is gonna be hard, like,
Yeah.
anytime, because like, in the summer, it is brutally hot, and it does rain often, or even in the fall, like, the fall here is hurricane season,
Yeah.
and it's
I think
gonna rain.
December and January are the best months to get married in Florida.
Yeah, but I think
But December is crazy. Who would get married in December? No offense. It's just December's
right.
so
Right,
overwhelming.
exactly, and those months too, that they're just very overwhelming because I think they are off peak season for
Yeah.
weddings, so
Mhm.
financially they're good, but like, yeah, they're really busy. People are traveling. People are already planning ahead, with their families and stuff, and so then it's kind of inconvenient trying to plan a wedding,
Yeah.
um, those months or whatever. So it's kind of like, for us, it's kind of tough to plan a
Yeah.
wedding in the state that we're in. So just gotta roll with
Yeah.
it.
Well, that's the perfect segue into our topic is we're gonna be talking
Yes.
about engagement, wedding planning, all the things.
Yes.
And where do we even start?
Girl, I have an idea where we can start.
Okay.
Some things that I wish.
You had known?
Yes.
That's so good.
Girl, like, I wish
God.
somebody would've, like, kinda prepared me and warned
And
me.
you're only how many weeks in? 2 weeks?
3, like,
Oh,
3.
yeah, three
Just
weeks.
about 3. Mhm.
And already you're
And,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Because okay, so one of
go
the
ahead, go
one of the first things that I wish somebody would've, like, kinda prepared me for was the questions.
Oh my
Bro,
gosh.
the questions, like, one of the first ones, and guys, if you're listening and if you know people who are either about to get engaged and are a couple that are, like, serious for, like, with their relationship or whatever, please, when they do get engaged, do not ask them, "When's the wedding?"
Don't ask anything. Let
Or
them
any
tell you.
yeah, honestly, yeah, and I'll let you, like, get deeper
Yeah,
into
don't
that
ask
one.
anything is kind of I know, I get it. Like it's like, "What? You care and stuff, and we know your hearts mean well."
Right.
But just hold off for a little
For
bit.
a little bit, yeah, 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 for a little bit because and this is the reason, because as, like, the bride to be and, like, the groom to be, it's already a lot to
Oh,
process.
for
It's a lot
sure.
because, like, it's a huge milestone. It's a huge, like, life stepping stone, you know? So, like, for me, like, when it was happening, literally when it was happening, like, I can't wait to watch the video because Brittany was, like, a huge part in the whole thing,
Lord,
and
I
I
had so
was
much anxiety.
and she played it off so
I
great.
don't feel like I did, but okay.
She did so great. But I literally, like, once I was, like, seeing it happening, I was like,
Yeah.
"Brittany, what's happening? What's happening?" And, like, because I was like, "This is really happening." Like, it took me some
Yeah.
time to really, like,
You think
holy
before you
moly.
get engaged, you think you're ready, and it's not that you're not ready, but,
Right.
like, you don't really realize because you don't know what you don't know until you go through it,
Right.
that, like, just how much it really changes
Exactly.
your mindset. Like, it's so
Everything.
hard to explain. It's
Yes.
with anything in life that
Yes.
is a big change.
Mhm.
It just brings a different pressure, good and, some challenging
Yeah.
ones, and it's like, "Whoa," and so naturally, you just need time to
100%,
process.
exactly. So then that in and of itself, and then you have like so many other people who love you,
Mhm,
and are happy for you, but then they're asking you all the questions. And then the biggest one, the most common one is like, when's the wedding?
mhm.
I don't know.
Like, you
Like
just got engaged
literally
yesterday.
5 minutes ago.
Literally,
It's like
yeah.
of course like you and your person have been talking about it, but like that's it. Like nothing's been set in stone. Like,
And things change so
and
much even with that because you think you
exactly,
know, and then you get engaged and
exactly.
you're actually looking at the real facts and like, okay, what's
Mhm.
practical? What makes most sense? And
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so, like, honestly, I didn't know how to answer that until I watched a few YouTube videos and kinda, like I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh," 'cause I felt that pressure to answer them, and I'm just like, "But wait, like, don't hold me to that because I don't know,"
Yeah.
because when Dave and I were talking about, getting married, the first idea was, "Let's get legally married first and then have the wedding a year after."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then when people were asking me that, I was telling them, "Oh, yeah, like, basically, like, in 2 months." And I'm like, "But, like, wait, because then now they're gonna hold me to that,
Right.
and that's not even the case now, and it's only been, like, 3
Exactly.
weeks." You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
But I felt pressure
Mhm.
to until, like, I watched a YouTube video, and I was like, "Oh," like, you know what I mean? So it's like so now when people ask me, it's just like, "We'll let you know." Like, we're not sure yet, we're still trying to secure a venue or
Yeah.
whatever the case is, you know? So For sure, I wish somebody would have told me
Me
something
too.
like that.
Yeah. And it's also like it robs you of such a special
Yeah.
time. That's the thing with the engagement season. I am November, December, January, February, 4 months into engagement, and I'm just now starting to really enjoy it
Yeah.
because it's so easy for your joy, your peace, your time to be stolen because wedding planning, whether you're doing it yourself or you have a wedding planner or whatever, regardless, it's a lot. It's a full
Yeah.
time job. Like, it's a
For
full time job for a
sure.
reason. There is so much that goes into if you're having like a traditional wedding. If you're not, it might not be as, strenuous on your time and stuff, but there's so much that goes into it. You're hosting 75, 100, 150 people, whatever the number is. It's a huge event. There's so many details, right? And add the pressure of like, it's such a special day and you want it to go without flaw.
Mhm.
You want to feel good. You want to look good. You want to have no tummy aches, no headaches. You want the timeline to work out well. You want everyone else to have a great time. It's so much that goes into it. But I wish that we would all, yeah, just give the newly engaged couple like at least a few weeks, a
Yeah.
month to just soak it all in, enjoy being engaged. To like, it's kind of like when you have a kid, you know?
Mhm.
I am the type, it was different because I was literally in a foreign country in the middle of COVID, so no one could come see me.
Mhm.
But even if I was stateside when I had Sage, I would have preferred it the first few weeks, no one come visit us. Nobody, not even like parents.
Yeah.
Because for me, that's just the way I am. I like to just be in my own bubble with my family and process it and soak it all in because it's new and so it comes with its own challenges and
Yeah.
specialness and it's just such a short-lived time. And I wish that like in a sense, I don't feel like that was fully robbed from me, but kind of.
Mm.
With all the questions, all the automatically like just having a plan and stuff. And I wish we would have kind of taken like that first month to not even wedding plan at all, to not
Yeah.
answer any questions, that people would have just been like kind of like left us alone with the questions and
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm. Yeah, no, like honestly, like I wish I would have like warned Dave. I'm like, can we have a day before we post anything? Like, or maybe we
Yeah.
would have told
I
like
was
our
surprised
guests.
y'all posted like within hours.
No, yeah, like honestly, like Dave was the first one. He posted like right away,
Yeah.
and because I like literally everything was happening so
Oh, yeah.
fast that I was like,
It
holy
was going from one
moly!
thing to the next, like,
Yes,
yeah, it was a long
yes.
day.
It was um that even caught me off guard. Like don't get me wrong, like all of it I enjoyed every part of it, but like
Mhm.
it was a lot of processing
Yeah.
that I even like I kind of wish like I would have known to be like, "Hey, like maybe like give us at least a day
Yeah.
like before even like posting anything just because yeah, like to just like process everything, you know." And it took me I want to say like a full week.
I'm trying to see when I posted. I think I waited a while.
You did. Like, I remember so I
But I
knew.
told everyone, but y'all like it's different. I was in a foreign country.
Right, right, right.
Y'all like we were there for yours,
Yeah, 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 you guys were there. Like,
but
for you, I knew that it was happening the day that you were leaving to Paris.
yeah.
I didn't know any time before that. So, like, I was already anticipating it happening, of course, but I was looking at your stories anytime after that, and so then I was seeing the ring, and I was like, "Wait, what?
I
Like, is
did
that
like
how,
I
like"
did a soft launch, but not
Yeah.
really, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's also my relationship with social media is very different now. Like
Yeah.
I just don't post. Like it's not even sometimes that I don't want to. Like I just don't think about it. I don't have the time
Yeah.
to edit photos, post photos.
Yeah.
I waited 2 weeks to post, and I'm glad I did because
Yeah, that
I
was smart.
even like I wanted to wait like a day or two to call everyone and tell everyone, but then I felt like, oh, I probably should just call them that day.
But I think you did. At least I don't think you called me the day. Oh no,
I
wait,
think
you
I
did.
did.
You
It was
did.
that
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
It was
you
just like later that day.
did.
So I got some time to process and we were on a trip. So like
No.
we were kind of in our own bubble, but then I wasn't prepared for when we came back to the States. Like,
Mm,
oh my God, it immediately was overwhelming. Like,
that.
and then also God was revealing so much in me and like in our relationship that like immediately that God was like, okay, now it's time to start like addressing this and
Okay.
stuff like that. Like, for example, not to get too personal, but like the fact that I have a child
Yeah.
and it's more than just us. And I'm grateful that we dated the way that we did. We really did treat it like a courtship. And we kept things very like, I don't know the word. We went at a really slow pace
Okay.
in a sense of like how we moved emotionally and especially with Sage, with my daughter. And I think it was best for all of us, all three of us, and her dad and stuff too. Like there's other people involved in the
Right.
situation. So um it was good for us that we took it slow, but then once we got engaged, that was like the first thing God wanted to address was like, if you're gonna step into a covenant marriage,
Mhm.
this is not just about y'all two. There's another life involved. There's another person involved. Is he ready? Are you ready, Brittany? Like, there's conversations that need to be had now that we didn't have to have before because
Wow.
he was just my boyfriend. He
Right.
wasn't her dad. He
Right.
wasn't, and now it's like, okay, God is like doing a lot through that. And there's so much of that that happens in the engagement season that I've experienced already in 4 months
No,
from like
that's so
just different
true.
things.
That's so true that you bring that up too, because I didn't think about that. Like before I got engaged, I didn't think about how maybe like my mom would have processed something like this. And like,
Mhm.
granted, I've been warning my mom about like, I'm not moving any further with my life as far as like, giving her grandchildren, moving in with a man, anything like that. Um, unless I'm getting married. And so then she has known that um if I'm moving anywhere with Dave, it's going to be with marriage. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So she has been prepared that it starts with engagement. So when I got engaged, and I called her, her reaction wasn't a reaction that I was expecting. And so then she kind of took it hard.
Mhm.
And so one of the things that she mentioned, she was like, mind you, I've left my house since I was 18. Like I left New York since I was 18 years old or whatever. But one of the things that she said was like in Spanish, she was like, Mi niña se va de la casa. So like my daughter is leaving the home. And that hit me hard because it's like and it wasn't like I'm physically leaving the house. It was like my daughter is like leaving. Like my daughter's like growing up. Like she is like getting married. You know what I mean? And it's like I didn't think about how it would affect it like
Oh yeah.
your family and like you know what I'm
And then the
saying?
weight of that emotions, cause like even like with my mom, like she's so happy for me. She loves
Yeah.
Justin, you know what I mean? But it's still like, oh my gosh, like things are gonna
Right.
change.
Mhm.
And it took like, oh my God, it's been the most emotional season of my life. Like,
Yeah.
it's good things, but sometimes you feel like sadness and
Right,
that's
of
okay. I
course. There's
think
some
that's
grieving.
normal. Exactly.
Mhm. Mhm.
You're literally grieving, not grieving, like you're saying bye to a whole different stage of
Yeah.
your life and version of yourself and preparing to become a wife. Like
Yes.
it's a beautiful process, but like anything that grows beautifully and stuff, there's shedding that has to happen.
Yes.
And
That's the perfect word, some shedding.
yeah.
Yeah. Cuz it's not like a bad thing, but it is a growth. Like it's
Yeah.
some shifting, like
Mhm.
um when people have asked me like, "Oh, how does it feel to be engaged?" And it's always I'm like, "How do I find the words to
Yeah.
describe it?" Because it's like at least so the best way that I've been able to describe it has been like, you know how sometimes like you just go through life, right?
Mhm.
And the changes of life and all the things and then you look back and it's just like, "Oh, snap, like I've come a long way.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I've gone through that. I've gone through that. Like I'm older now, like I'm wiser and all the things all the things, right? And you just didn't realize like as life was happening, right? You just kind of like lived life until you look back at it. I'm getting
Yes,
somewhere, I
yes,
promise.
yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm tracking.
But with engagement, like I have literally have felt
Oh yeah.
like I
You
was once
feel
here.
the
I
changes.
feel the
That's so
change.
good. That's
Like
so
I
true.
feel like I
Yes.
feel the processing. Like I feel like the growth. Like
Right.
I am literally shifting from one stage of life
Mhm.
into another. And then I can obviously just imagine from being engaged to marriage. You know what I
And
mean?
when you have kids, it's amplified because it happens so often. Because
Mm-hmm.
you have this person outside of you who's constantly
Yeah.
changing drastically from week to week. And so it's like, it's a lot. Like, life
Yeah.
is so weird.
Word. And I'm like, and I pray that I'm not saying this like to scare you or like to scare any of our listeners or
No,
anything
it's
like that.
real. And
It's
goes
just
back to what you
real.
said, like what you wish you would have known. And I want to
100%.
touch on that too when you're done.
Yeah, like it's like And I'm grateful that that is, like, what I'm experiencing
Yeah.
because, like, I get to live it. I get
Yeah.
to, like, actually, like, sit in it and live it and not just, like, look back and like, "Oh, snap, that happened." You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, it's like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is actually happening," and, like, I get to savor it, you know what I mean? And, like, just sit in it and, like, just, I don't know, honor my partner with it, honor God, and honor everyone that's, like, in this moment with me and
Yeah.
walking this out with me, you know what I mean? It's unusual because like I said, all throughout it's just like, "Oh, snap, like that did happen," or you know what I mean? Like, um, it's unusual and weird to kinda like explain, but it's one of the most beautiful things that, I am experiencing even in my relationship, like, with Dave and I, like, I feel like just a even
Oh,
closer
for sure.
bond
For sure.
with
It
him.
changes stuff.
It really
It's like,
does.
"Oh, like, I knew I wanted you to be my forever
Yeah.
person, but, like, you really are.
Yes, it's like a
This is
security.
crazy."
It
Yeah.
really is like a security because, like, it's like just like you said, it's like I knew it. Like, you kinda already have, like, this, like, security, like, in your heart.
But you also don't know
Right, but
until there's a
exactly.
ring on your finger and then, like, a second ring, like the band. You don't really, really, really know.
Yes,
Like, you don't.
exactly, exactly. It's just there's different levels to it,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure.
It's just like a I don't know, it's the best way that I can describe it is that security because yeah, like when you're dating, you can have a sense of security for this person, you know, and you keep God in the center of it and you keep praying and yeah, storms is gonna come, of course, like naturally.
Yeah.
But when once you keep God in the middle of it, you work things through, you work things out and all the things, you know, but then like engagement happens. And I think also like for us too, like um the way that like we not only the way that we grew up or whatever, and just like our just history, you know, and the dating and stuff like that. And then like how God has just blessed us with our
Oh
partners
my god, yeah.
and like how they have shown us that they're so sure of us
Yeah. Mhm.
is just like that extra like real like I don't know. Like I remember like when
Like, I
Dave
can't believe I ever wasted my time. For
no
all the girls out there, do not settle. Do
do not.
not waste your time.
Please
If
don't
he if he wanted to, he would. It's
talk
that
about
simple.
it, sis.
Period.
Yes.
Period.
Tell him, sis. No, for real. Like
Dead. Okay, go.
no, like for real. Like I think a big like God is just really so intentional with the entire journey with who, you know, we like he placed in our paths that didn't work out
Mhm.
to then like prepare our hearts for who he has who he meant for us. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because like with Dave, like he taught me so much in my heart like how to be patient and that included even in how like we met if not how we met but like how we started
Yeah.
with like the certain boundaries even the friendship and stuff like that because I literally never had that before,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, like so I don't know how to describe it, but basically like how God knows exactly what he's doing. You know what I mean? So as long as like you just keep him in the center
For
and he
sure.
will really just work all things out, you know. And you mentioned it with your relationship with Justin, like the pace that you guys went. You
Mhm.
guys like really took your time and like
Yeah.
I think that that was like super helpful in your
Yeah.
relationships, you know.
And people might look at it and be like, y'all didn't take your time. And so I do want to speak to that. So we were only dating for a year and then we got engaged, which
Mhm.
in the grand scheme of things is short. However, the pace of our relationship, like behind closed doors, was moving slow. And that's what really matters. Cause there's people, I'm sure I know a bunch of people who are dating years and they're not engaged yet, but maybe they're living together or they feel married. And I wanted to be intentional to not do that
Right.
for me because I have done that in the past and it has not been healthy to me. It has not been healthy. Um Obviously, yes, as Christians we know we shouldn't be doing that. There's reason that God made marriage and certain things for marriage specifically, but just speaking like plainly human to human, also it's just emotionally it wasn't healthy.
Right.
Like it created a bond with someone who was not my person for life. And so the ripping away of that felt like a divorce. I'll be honest, I went through breakups that were harder than my actual divorce. And that's not good. And I was like, okay, the next person I'm with, I'm really going to take my time to get to know them first before we even start dating. And when we do date, we're gonna do it in a way that if God says closes that door and says this is not the person for you, I want it to be the least painful it can be. And I'm so glad that we did that. Like truly, like I had my heart guarded, but not in a way that kept him out.
Yeah.
It just kept me protected until I knew for sure. I was coming from a different place too, because I was coming out of a lot of severe hurt. But I'm glad that we went at that pace because like emotionally and stuff, like we didn't put burdens on each other that a husband and a wife only need to have.
Right.
We just dated. We had fun with it. We met
Yeah.
each other's families. Like we really did do what I wanted to do of like getting other people's opinions on him first before I really like decide in my
Mhm.
heart this is the one for me. Like,
Mhm.
okay, how do the people in my life feel? How do people in his life talk about him in shared spaces? We served together for a few months
Yeah.
before we even started dating. So all of those things really helped build that confidence and that
Mhm.
security. And then, when it came time like to pop, he popped the question and now it's like, all right, now I know for sure and now we can have deeper
Yeah.
conversations about finances that we didn't really have to have. Like, I think you do need to be having those conversations when you're dating,
Mhm.
but you're still kind of coming at it from a place of like, hey, this is the way I do things. How do you do things? How can we operate together dating? But there's still like this level of separation because you're not one yet,
Right.
and that's good. And I'll be honest, someone like me, I don't know if you can relate at all, but where I've come from a background of dating, I was not a Christian and I definitely didn't date in God's way, the way God wants us to. And I was shacking up. I was living like we were married and we weren't, and moving way too fast. And then now being gone through this relationship where we kind of did things the right way.
Mhm.
And at times, the enemy or even my own subconscious could trick me into thinking, is he really into me?
Yeah.
Are we
Oh,
really
yeah,
are
yeah.
we really like in love? Because it
Yeah.
doesn't feel as overwhelmingly exciting and just
Mhm.
like thrilling and we're not moving deep. We're not talking about these things. We don't live together. Da 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 da.
Mhm.
And those are such lies from the enemy because if you're doing things the way that God mostly intends them to be,
Mhm.
it's healthy, but especially if you're coming from a place where you didn't do it that way, it's gonna feel foreign. It's gonna feel
Right.
unfamiliar.
Right.
It might feel boring sometimes.
Mhm.
But one thing God showed me a while ago was that healthy love is quote unquote boring because it doesn't
Mm.
have
That's good.
toxic fights
Mhm.
and worries and anxieties and cheating and dishonesty and
Yeah.
drama.
Yeah.
It's healthy. And oh my God, I'm tired. My life has been filled with so much of that stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I needed a soft love,
Yeah.
a gentle
Yeah.
love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. I I I can't say I relate 100% to that just cuz like I never like lived with a guy in that sense to where like I know that
Yeah.
experience, and to my knowledge I haven't experienced with some like cheating per se. But where I have seen like the enemy kind of like try to reel me back was when I would be in my relationships and when it got like when the fire kind of like died down,
Mhm.
where they would be like, okay, well, I don't want this anymore. And then they would like leave. Right. And and then my natural reaction would be like, okay, you don't want to be here? Peace out. No problem. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna beg you to stay.
Yeah.
That would be my natural reaction. But then where God was like, nope, that's not what we doing, was helping me cough up like the courage to have a conversation, to
Yeah.
actually have a conversation with him and be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. What's going on? And actually like work it out,
Yeah.
work it through, and like um and here we are, you know what I mean? Like and him too, like I know he hasn't had like, too much of that happen in his history as well, where, we've worked a lot of those things out, and
And
so
that's good with your journey. Everyone's journey is so different, but like
mhm.
for you guys dated for like 2 years and a little
Yeah.
bit of change.
Mhm.
And in your mind, you're like, all right, like I'm ready
Yeah.
already. Like, come on. Like from when you first start dating,
Uh-huh.
especially as Christians, like
Yeah.
most of us, some of us feel differently, but I can say for us, like I was like, oh yeah, like I understand why people only date for 3 months and then get married 3 months later, or date for 6 months then months later, because it's hard, y'all. I'll
Yeah.
just put it
You
simply.
ain't lying.
But
You ain't
I
lying.
get that, but I'm so glad we didn't rush to that extent, like, at all. Like, even our
100%.
engagement, I'm glad. I originally was like, "Oh, 3 months." Like,
Ooh.
I'm trying to move,
Yeah.
but like, I'm glad that we're having a 9 month engagement in
Yeah.
total, and oh my god, it's the perfect amount of time because any shorter would have been too short, any longer would have been, I feel like, too long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I was saying this for a reason. Oh,
That
your journey. So,
yeah.
like, God was working so much out in you, even as you just shared that, like, where the fire would, like,
Die
the
out.
sizzle,
Yeah.
fire would sizzle out, and the people would leave.
Yeah.
But God, with you and Dave, was like, hey, the honeymoon phase is over. Like, after, like,
Yeah.
6 months or whatever in a relationship, and then he was like, okay, I need you to also build your security in me and in
Amen.
your
Yes.
relationship and in yourself, to get over that anxiety
Yep.
and the I guess
The
the trauma
wall.
that's built up
Mhm.
from your
Yep.
past, because I'm going to keep this person in your life,
Mhm.
and you're going to be dating for 2 years, and then he's going to pop the question,
Mhm.
and it's like all for a reason, and he was
Yes.
working so much out in you in that time.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, so much, like you said, like so much security in him first and God first, because it was God who stepped in,
Yeah.
because it was like the enemy trying to reel me back into the old patterns,
Yeah.
the old, my own old thought patterns, the old patterns, how I used to date and how it used to be. But first of all, I'm no longer the same person that I used
Right.
to be. I'm not dating anywhere like the same guys that I used to date, and God is the one that's in control of this relationship. You know what I mean? So it wasn't gonna go the same way that it used to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and it didn't. It really didn't. And so I'm just so grateful for just the way that the Lord just orchestrated the whole thing, And I mean, it was tough, it was scary, but both of us like worked things together and we grew from it. We grew more in love with each other. We learned from each other. We learned how to communicate with one another. It was such a
And that's
beautiful
so
thing.
crucial. It's like
Yes.
foundational stone.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
yes.
my god, it's so
Yes.
important.
So, what is your favorite part? Because we know that wedding planning can be stressful, it can be overwhelming, but what would you say is your favorite part about the whole thing?
Okay. All right, before we do that, real quick, I
Mhm.
had one last thought from the
Oh,
other thing, because I
mhm.
really love the whole "what I wish I would have known."
Oh, yeah,
Maybe we've entitled the episode that.
sure.
But what I wish I would have known, like, I said all the things, so I'm not gonna expound upon it again, but kinda to sum that up, I wish I would have known that it's okay to have some moments of sadness or just
Mm.
overwhelming
Yes.
emotion and just overwhelm in general in this season, because one thing we can do that doesn't do us any good when something good happens to us is to feel like we're supposed to feel a certain way.
Yes.
So when I went trying on my dresses for the first time, like, it was great, but then after I went home and cried cuz like it was so overwhelming to me. And it was very early on in my engagement too as
Yeah.
well. So like there were so many emotions that we were also processing things. Like my mom was going through a really hard time, so she couldn't be like fully like emotionally present. It was just like it was a lot. And so I wish someone would have told me it's okay to be happy and sad in this time. It That's the beauty of it. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that you're not where you're supposed to be and not enjoying this
That's
season.
so
It's
good.
just a part of the process.
Yeah.
So I wish someone would have told me that. I wish I would
Yeah.
have known that.
That's so good. Yeah, because, you know, all of this is a beautiful thing, but there is another side of it that um it's okay to sometimes have those moments that it might not feel as the most like pleasant. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Because anything beautiful, like growth is always beautiful, but sometimes growth it is stretching, it
Yeah.
is shedding and all that, and that doesn't always look the most like pleasant or whatever. So yeah, I love that you mentioned that because it's not always light isn't always shed on that side of
Yeah.
things. So I love
For
that.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so to answer your question, you said what's my favorite part about this whole wedding planning or engagement? Because those are different.
You think so?
Yeah.
Let's I guess engagement.
Okay. Um, my
You had
favorite part of engagement.
mhm.
I think just kind of like reveling in the, what is the word? It's kind of like a honeymoon phase in and of itself,
Yeah.
where
I
it's
agree.
so special, and I know it's such a limited time. It's
Mhm.
only gonna be 9 months for us,
Mhm.
and it's like pregnancy, literally 9 months. Well, technically 10 months pregnancy, but whatever.
Mhm.
Um, it's so special because it's like we know we are our forever people,
Mhm.
but we're not, like, fully there yet, which honestly is kind of annoying. I will say that's the hard. I'm not trying to be all negative here, but engagement's hard because it's like you know this is your person, you know you're gonna marry them, but it's like you can't fully live like you're married yet, so you're just, like,
Mhm.
stuck in that, like, planning phase,
Uh-huh.
which is so annoying. It's like you kinda just want the next stage to start and
Yeah.
just to live together. Like, bro, like, having a Valentine's Day date and then having to go drive home separately is so ratchet. Like, it's so annoying, I hate it.
That is so funny. Well, also because you guys live very far from each
Yes,
other, so
yeah,
that I can see that for
yeah.
sure.
We're like a mid-distance relationship. He lives like 45 minutes to an hour from me, which
Mhm.
is hard. It's really, really hard, especially
Yeah.
because I have a kid and I work a lot. Like, um, like it, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
over it. But okay, what's my favorite part? Yeah, just enjoying like the newness of it all and
Mhm.
like the specialness of it and getting to know each other on a deeper level, like having those deeper conversations and stuff that um sometimes can be challenging if I'm being honest. And I'm not one to shy away from hard convos, but like especially like with wedding planning, like it can be hard cuz like most cases the man doesn't care. In my case,
He
I have
cares.
an amazing planner man, which God has blessed me
Amen.
with, very
Mhm.
intentional. But because of that, we might disagree on like
Mhm.
what color we want to do for our wedding or what type of tables or this, that, and the third. So we've had to navigate that. And it's been hard. I'll be honest. Like it has caused me to look in the mirror a lot.
Okay.
Really like kind of choose what to let go, what's worth talking about and really to grow in that. But grand scheme of things, I'm grateful for it because it's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. It's really helping us grow
Yeah.
in ways that we couldn't have when we were dating.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I also think that will probably help you too. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like in your life too, because
Oh,
he can
1000%.
take off a lot
Oh girl,
off your
yeah.
plate. You know what I mean? Because you're a big planner.
Yeah, it's nice
So
to God gave me
yeah.
a match. I'm like, yes, you plan this, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
He's
Oh,
better than me sometimes. I'm like, wow.
yeah, because I'm like, I know that that was like that's a big thing that
Yeah,
will help you like with delegation and like
for
all that.
sure.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
good.
What's been your favorite part of this engagement season?
Um, in the last 3 weeks, uh,
Yes.
I would say the bond, the closer bond that it has created for me and Dave. Like, I don't know. I guess you described it very well. Like, it's like a honeymoon in and of itself, but it's not like the typical honeymoon when like you start dating, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like someone new.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's like,
it's like
oh yes, that's so true. I just got
you
like warm feelings.
yeah, it's like like your forever person. Like you
Yeah.
know
Oh, I'm
it.
gonna cry.
Yeah, like it's like the honeymoon of like your forever person and like just that stronger bond with that person. And I guess it makes me appreciate like God's heart with
Oh
marriage,
yeah.
and it's just like, oh my gosh, like I see you, Lord. Like I see like your goodness
Oh my God.
in creating
It brings me to
no,
tears.
literally,
Like,
and like how special it really makes me not only appreciate just the Lord himself, but like his ways, you know what I mean? And like who he placed
yeah,
in my life to be my husband and how strategic he was, and like that
yeah,
because like I think about it like and I hear stories too like when people like have gotten engaged and like how like that has all a process and stuff and like you know um their story hasn't been like the most like secure thing going into it like their person they don't feel like that was their person. Does that make
but
sense?
now they're engaged.
They're like when they got engaged they're like I don't think that this is my person.
Oh,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying? Like I have heard stories like that,
Okay.
but like I just feel so grateful that the Lord um like gave me the security that of Dave being my person. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And like
for sure.
the bond has just grown even deeper with
Yeah.
him, and like I don't know, like I just love that so much of entering like the season with him and going into marriage with him, and
Yeah.
like I don't know, like talking wedding stuff with him, and has been really like fun,
Yeah.
and like planning and stuff, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's been beautiful. I also like am mindful, like, cuz like he's letting me like do all the things. Like he's like more like the typical like whatever you
I
want.
wish. I love you, babe. I love you, babe, and I love that you're a planner and that you want to plan our wedding with me. I love it. I really do. No, I
So
really do. I really
funny.
do.
Yeah, he's more, but see, like I'm opposite. I'm just like, okay, but what do you want?
That's literally
Like, I'm like,
no.
what do
That's
you
what most
want?
women say. Oh my
I'm
gosh.
like, you got to tell me what's your non-negotiable, because it's your day
Right.
too, like, so
Hmm.
like his non-negotiable is like he wants it all indoor.
Okay.
So then
I
that's what I'm
understand
trying.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm like, I'm trying to like find, but that's actually a hard non-negotiable to find, you know.
No.
Yeah, like I
No.
feel like it's so hard. Like a nice one, like to find nice
Yeah,
indoor.
girl.
What? It's
There's a
been
lot.
tough.
I'll send you some.
Okay, please.
But
It's been hard.
yeah.
But yeah.
It's such a fun season and
Yeah.
yeah, we can't wait to just share more and like for you guys to kind of be on this journey with us. But
Absolutely.
we'll wrap it up there. I hope that this was fun for you guys. Praying for you all to be in loving, fruitful, God-filled, God-centered marriages. Let's pray.
Yes.
Dear God, we thank you so much, Lord, for just who you are, God. We thank you for marriage. We thank you for relationships in general, no matter if they're romantic, platonic, whatever, that all relationships reflect your love for us, God, and your relationship in who you are between the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And we wouldn't have love if it wasn't for you, because you in and of yourself are love, God, and marriage itself is modeled so beautifully after your relationship with us, because we are your bride. And I just pray, God, that everyone right now who's listening that may feel hopeless when it comes to dating and marriage and engagement, I pray that you would restore their hope, God, that their hope would not be in their situation or what they can see, God, but it would be in you, God, and they would believe that all things are possible with you, God. I pray that everyone who is engaged right now, that you would just be at the center of it, that you would help them to enjoy this beautiful, short lived season as much as possible, to keep you at the center, God. I pray for all the marriages right now, Lord, that your hand would be on them, Lord God, that you would not allow the enemy or any man, any human, come in the way of that marriage, Lord God, that your hand would be on them, that you would just produce in them a kingdom purpose that can only, just make an impact in the world only through them specifically, God. And we just thank you. Thank you for the ability to be able to talk about this, to be able to share this season with each other. We are so grateful. Your ways are just so higher than our ways. Your ways are so good, so unbelievable. And we love you so much, Lord. Uh, yeah. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
That's a wrap.
Piece of cake.
Peace. Bye.
Bye.